that song blew up from TikTok and the internet,
right.
social media,
right.
and look where it is today. It's just a great example of how social media in the music industry combines and what it can do. And after that, other brand deals came.
Yeah, this is the EFR podcast, episode 33. I'm Sammy B. I'm on with James Lyman. And on the board, we got my man, John Don Sterling. You already know. Here we go. Keith.
Hey, how's it going?
Man, what's up, man? Welcome to the EFR podcast. Thank you for coming on, bro.
Definitely, I appreciate it. I wanted to see first, can you guys hear me very clearly?
Yeah, man.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you sound great. You sound great, my man.
Wonderful.
Yeah, man. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sammy B, as you already know. And then on my left fake side, I have my guy, Mr. James Lyman. And on the boards, we have, as you already know, Mr. John Don Sterling. You know what I mean? We are the EFR podcast, man. We'd like to thank you for being on, bro. Definitely.
This is definitely a pleasure. I appreciate y'all.
People who don't know Keith is an all-star mediapreneur, I like to call it. He has a couple of different business ventures. He's a serial entrepreneur. He has different businesses from with Airbnb, I think I've seen, or some type of real estate, to doing you being a media manager for a couple of online personalities, comedians like Robbie World. And then you also have a young group that you also manage, Hollywood Dolls. And I think are you affiliated with Wo Vicky too? Is that somebody they're just cool with, or? Yeah, I work with her as well. Okay, so you manage her, or you just kind of assist? Well, I kind of assist and like co-manage with her. Okay, you co-manage. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. She's definitely, her and Robbie World have been on the scenes. I know, Hollywood Dolls. They're making a name for themselves. Young female rappers, musicians. You know what I'm saying? But Robbie World and then Wo Vicky, they're two big time online media personalities. I know Wo Vicky, she was going to say she's an artist. She doesn't want to be considered more like an online personality, but she has a big social media following. I brought you on, Keith, because you're a young entrepreneur, you're a millennial, and actually you might be a Generation Z. How old are you guys? 31. Okay, you're a millennial. Yeah, you're a millennial. You're still young guy. This programming, as you know, we focus on young millennials who are business savvy in media industry and business and finance and economy. And this format is really brought to bring business aspects to life of young millennials. And, you being your own entrepreneur, and you engaging in a lot of business ventures that you have, how did you kind of get your start? Because there's not a lot of people who can kind of start, even in the 30s, because our generation, a lot of people are still in debt because of college. People are still trying to find their way. A lot of people are still living with their parents. How were you able to find your way and become, take your own entrepreneurial spirit and just focus on your own businesses? You got successful businesses at that. Right. Well, I think it started early in high school. And I just kind of had that thing for business and entrepreneurship. And I started in high school, and I started to put myself in the position to sell stuff, When I was 18, I was introduced to the network marketing industry, direct sales industry, through a company called Noni Juice, which was so old, super old. A lot of people listening, or even a lot of you guys may have remembered Noni, but I kind of started with that, and I became very successful. I built that's where the majority
of my skill set came from was from that industry of building an organization, selling things, selling different products, enrolling people into the vision of what I was doing, doing presentations, training, because, of course, you bring someone in on your organization, you need to train them. And it just happened. And I had great mentors at an early age. At the age of 18, I met Robbie World's dad. That's how we first met, was through that industry. His dad was my mentor, and I met him first. And then came along, Robbie and I went to the same high school. We didn't know. He said, we met at somewhere we met. And he was like, oh, you go to my school? I was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, oh, and since then, we kind of connected. So I had great mentors at 18, men and women who were very, very successful at what they do. And I wanted that. I wanted more. And I said, if somebody can show me, they can teach me. And then from there, like when I graduated from high school, it was a battle, because the traditional way of life is to go to school, get a good job, get a good education to get a good job. Something with me at that time didn't sit right, because I didn't want to work a job for someone. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to make my own money. So I didn't go to college. Right after high school, I went and I jumped right into let me go back. I actually did enroll, but then I unenrolled because I wasn't feeling it, and I did exactly what I wanted to do. And then from there, for years, I was a network marketing professional, and I still to this day receive residual income every month from that industry. And that's where it all started. And then I started to kind of branch off into other things. I said, wow, well, I can create real businesses. Let me do this and let me do that. And then after that, just multiple businesses started to happen, You brought up a couple of good points, actually. You actually brought up network marketing. A lot of people, want to stray away from it because, it has, when you hear network marketing or affiliate marketing, you always hear like bad connotation. It has like a bad connotation. Yeah. But, depending on, like you stated, there was a certain structure that you had, that you were able to kind of infiltrate and kind of build your own system, I guess. I think network marketing can, if you use it right, or if you understand it, where if you're allowed to, a lot of people duplicate what you're doing, then it works. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's the problem. A lot of people don't, with the network marketing, a lot of people don't want to show people how to duplicate their own success, and really that's what you need to do to really be able to, build residual and passive income like you've been doing. Then another point you also made up too, and this is a big debate in business, is the whole, going to college to become, something, or, but if you talk to millionaires and billionaires, they'll tell you that college is really just a liability per se. I wouldn't say a liability, but just another, I don't know. I'm thinking debit and credit, but more debt infrastructure, because you're collecting debt on stuff that it doesn't. You can gain stuff, but it's applying it to real world tech. And there's like this whole big debate with rich and poor, and elitist and fundamentalists, and that whole thing about, should people really, to be successful, is college really necessary? That whole afterthought, grad school, is that really necessary for you to be successful, or is it just really a drive and the real world networking, networking with the right people to excel and get ahead? So you brought up two good points on that, and maybe you could speak on those 2 points, whichever one you want to speak on first. Right. Yeah, and you're right. You didn't have to. And a lot of people, I always saw it like, if I'm going to get in debt for someone else, I might as well get in debt for myself. And there's nothing wrong with college, because there's different professions the way you need schooling, where you need that. But for my goal, for where I wanted to go in life, it wasn't for me. And I tell people all that. Tell people like that. Well, tell people and kids, young entrepreneurs as well. They battle with that, especially with the day of the internet, where a lot of these kids are making money on their phone, and they don't have to go clock in anywhere, and that becomes a battle. Well, do I need to go do this? Do I need to do this? And I say, well, you have to go after what your goals and dreams are. A lot of our parents, a lot of our grandfathers and grandmothers and aunties and uncles are in that old mindset of way of life, when we're in a whole new world.
Hold on. We can't disrespect James here, because that's my man. You got my co James. This is the grandpa. He's the old school. We're gonna have Mr. James kind of explain, his foresight. But I think you bring up a good point about that whole, that in the office, go to work type of mentality. Now that our generation and the generation after us, they don't really need to do all that. Going to the office, and they can just do deals on their phone, like Lil Wayne said, right? Like he was like, "Yo, I close deals on right? I close deals on my phone.
Yep, $1 bills on my iPhone.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think that's ill. Even you were traveling. Like I just seen a couple of your posts. You were just like traveling. I think with you and Hollywood Dolls.
Yeah,
somewhere you were at in there.
Yeah. The month of May, every weekend we were gone. On the road, they were doing shows. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, you traveling, you got to close. I'm sure you on that phone a lot, and it's just that whole thing of, the mobile office is now the phone. What I mean? It's now the mobile device. Yeah. Whether it's an iPad or a phone or whatever you have, that's really how business is really orchestrated now. Not the whole office, and then even with offices, people are renting offices, like for certain times. Like they have the real estate. That's a real office retail rentals. That's a big thing, and I'm sure where you're at in Georgia and Florida, those are big things. People renting out conference rooms for meetings. You know what I'm saying? Just for an hour, and then that's it. That's all they need. To close a deal, right? And then they're out to do golfing or something, or watch the NBA Finals game later or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it is. James, you want to come in and put your 2 cents?
It's fascinating just listening to you, Keith. I'm sure a lot of the listeners out there, they're thinking entrepreneur, and that's where they want to go. And of course, they're open to any kind of advice. So I'm wondering if you had any comments or advice about when you're bootstrapping, where to get finance, how much finance or seed money do you need to get started? How'd you address that problem?
Yeah, okay. That's a good question.
Great question. And I talk to a lot of people about this all the time, is they think that they have to have all this money. They're not depending on what situation, what type of business that you're trying to start. A lot of the non-traditional business that can make a lot of money, you really don't have to have a lot. Like, I'll give an example. Robbie and I started a company called Faith Apparel Co., which is a backpack company. And the link is actually in my bio on my Instagram. Well, it's not. It's actually my website. But if you go to faithapparel.com or Faith Apparel in Instagram, Faith Apparel Co. on Instagram, you'll pull it up. But it's reflective.
KeithDorsey.com as well as his
yeah, that's our website.
Yeah, I'll put that up as well.
Okay, and it's reflective 3M, all reflective backpacks. It's went nuts over Instagram through the influencers that promoted it. But we started with literally of nothing, and I'll tell people is you have to, first of all, when you start a business, you need to have a plan, and the number one is the financial plan, and you start with what you have. Start with your resources. Start with people who you already know. And once you have it already planned out, you could seek small things. Start somewhere. Like we say, okay, cool, this is what we have. We could get up $800. We don't have enough money to buy a bulk load of stuff. So let's order samples. Let's start the Instagram. That's free. Let's start a Shopify store. That's free for the first 14 days. We design it. Well, really back then, we started on Big Cartel. super old. And we said, okay, let's contact our factories that we know in China. Let's design it. Let's get samples of everything, which each sample, of course, usually samples are really expensive because it's one of each item. Or $60 per bag. I know it's actually like one something per bag. And we had a photo shoot. They shipped it here. We had a photo shoot. We put the stuff on the site and we promoted it and we did pre-orders with no money. Pre-orders. And all those sales started to come in. And we told people this is a pre-order period, because now it allowed us to give us a time to get the capital, use the money that everybody else was paying at retail and taking the wholesale costs and our overhead costs and buying the bulk of things. And that's how we started off. So we had nothing. We did pre-orders, got $10,000, $15,000 in the account, went back, repurchased all the upfront, the pre-sale orders, and boom, we're ready to go. And we just kept doing it over and over and over again. So there's always ways to make it happen. You know, just utilize what you have, and you really don't have to make an excuse. Now, where I am now in life, we're doing more traditional business. You sometimes have to seek other finances. You will see yourself online looking at, business loans, personal loans, and all these types of things. I remember my first Airbnb, which is a vintage RV, vintage camper. It was inspired by a listing that I saw in LA. It was a really nice Airstream in the hills in LA. It was beautiful. And I said, I want to do this in Atlanta. I went and did it. At that time, I was really in the pace of my life where I was like, I don't really have this amount of money to just dump. So I said, hey, let me go get a loan. I mean, got a loan, got the camper, remodeled it, my fiance and I, and the thing makes in the backyard of a property that I own that's really, really cool. People from all over the world have come to stay, and still 90% occupancy every month in this little vintage camper that people go from all over the world, come to Atlanta and passing through Atlanta to stay there. And it makes some really good money, you know? So now I had to start looking at credit, business credit. I had to start utilizing that because where I grew up, where I was raised, that really wasn't taught. So I had to read, had to go on Google, had to figure it out. I had to ask a lot of people that I know that were experts in business credit and that types of things. And I was able to apply for a business credit card through my LLC entity and start building it from there. So you will have to seek some type of business loan somewhere, the bigger you want to go, you know. So I had to say, hey, I got to get my credit right now, personal credit, and then it's business credit. I was like, wow, this is a lot, you know. So yeah, but my biggest advice is you start where you are, your network, call around, you know. You can get the capital to do anything you want, and you don't have to have a lot to start. You just got to have a dream. You have to have a goal. You have to have a plan. Once you have it all planned out and you see the money written down and you see what you can make, you can find an investor. Investors want to know how they can make money and how they can continue to make money and how they can make their money back. And you present it the right way to the right person. You never know. They say, this is a great idea. Here's the seed money. You know, but a lot of people don't really have that first step, and that first step is the vision, and they don't have it all planned out. They always getting ready to get ready. Oh, I'm gonna get ready to do this. I'm talking about it. People talk good game. Oh yeah, it sounds good, but it's never on paper, and it never is actually executed.
Right. Sounds good, man. I mean, you definitely bring up some good points about definitely the credit, and use your business entity to be able to build wealth, build credit, so you can invest in the properties that you were, which is good. You know what I mean? I think the Airbnb, man. I don't think you can go wrong with that. I see a lot of people using that as a strategy for real estate. That's working. You just got to know how to do that. It is definitely a real estate type of strategy to invest in. I mean, and like I said, man, you just definitely someone I wanted to reach out to, because I see a lot of stuff that you've been doing, especially on the media front. Along with the acts that you help manage and that you are managing. And I mean, what are you using? How are you juggling that? Where did that come into your whole dynamic, your entrepreneurial dynamic, what you're doing, the whole media, and music?
It's actually becoming a very big deal with us, and it's, to be honest, it's changing the trajectory of my lifestyle. How would all happen? Robbie World is my best friend. I've been knowing him over 10 years old. Like I told you, when I was 18, his father, I met his father, who was a multimillionaire and very successful man, who taught me, the way, And back in the day, there was a app that came out called Vine. Now, of course, everyone else on Facebook. Of course, your family and is on there, and you only can present certain stuff on Facebook. Mm-hmm. But Vine, Robbie was like, "Hey, on this app, I can do what I want to do, and my family won't see it." He went nuts. He was himself. He started to create, and he became Vine famous. And really, a lot of the big creators or social media stars that you see today started from Vine. That was their platform. And he created a group from other sketch comedy Viners here in Atlanta called it the 44. He asked me to manage him. Well, Robbie always wanted me to be his manager, even when he did music. When he first started off as Big Rob the Cool, he said, "Can you please you were going to be my manager?" So it just kind of happened. So I managed them, and things kind of took off. I mean, they have a Facebook page now, over 200,000 followers on it. Instagram page with 70,000 followers on it. But there was something that happened where
big on social media,
yeah, huge. There's the different things that happened where the group the ideas changed and people went on out their way. But I sat with Robbie and I said, "Rob, go ahead and do you." He was always behind the camera. Rob also used to do music videos. He was one of the top music videographers in Atlanta for indie artists. People don't remember that, but he was great with the camera. He went to SAE for audio engineering and graduated. Robbie has an audio engineering degree, but he didn't go that route. Yeah, and he got into video from doing audio to video in one of the classes that they had, and that's where he started. But that's why you see his videos are so very clear. He's a director. He also does movies. A lot of people don't know that we had a movie premiere here in Atlanta for a movie he has that he's running through film festivals. He's won film festivals. 500 people showed up to for a premiere here in Atlanta for the movie. I know Robbie does it, he does a lot of skits, like the comedy skits. Now he's doing more into the acting now. No, he's a director. He wrote, funded, directed a whole movie. And it began to take off. That's another something else he's going after. But long story short, he got on Instagram. He started doing him on Instagram. He got in front of the camera. He started to really have a way with his ideas, and boom, it took off. They got to go. Start getting traction. He started 5,000, 10,000 followers to 100,000, 300,000 followers, to almost 1 million followers now. And now with that, there's opportunities that began to come. And this is where the career began to spin for us. A lot of the other influencers who we work with also began to become really big. A lot of the influencers that promoted my backpack brand really had a great following, stayed with us. They became our family and friends to us. And they needed help. They got big on the internet. All these companies started, hey, can you do promo? Hey, can you do this? Can you come here? So the industry for influencers began to become more valuable to the world. Those opportunities got bigger. So they needed someone to handle that. So I said, as for me, I just jumped in there and said, okay, cool, let's do it. I'll handle it for you. Robbie handles his own stuff, but there's another level of stuff that he doesn't really want to handle, and I handle it for him. And I handle the paperwork. I had the business account. I was able to set up the tax forms through my business to receive the money and then pay it out to them. And this thing just went crazy. And how it began to really go to the next level was we went to in New York. We went to a sneaker event called SneakerCon. It was huge.
It's big in New York.
Yeah, I was like, what is nuts? So we were there, and there was a guy that approached us, and he said, hey, I heard about you guys. I want to do some business. Can you meet me later on tonight at this restaurant? I said, okay, cool. They're open to meeting whoever. And we went there to this rooftop. I can't really remember what the food was actually, but everything was bought out for us. It was an open bar. All the food was free. And I looked at it. He had all these cards with this red writing on it that said 300 with the red. So I was like,
that sounds like near phone.
I'm like, I don't know what 300 ENT. So I Googled it, 300 Entertainment, the music label.
Right.
So I was like, this is huge. So he said, I want to do some activations with you guys. So he started to do activations with some of the music artists that were that were signed to their label. They were promoted. Like a lot of people hear this music in Robbie's skits. Those are paid promotions. So from that, we started doing that. And then Rolling Loud Music Festival in Miami, Florida last year, I met an executive for Atlantic Records. I said, hey, bro, I have a group in Atlanta they're really big on the internet. Here's my deck. He said, okay, cool. Let's put something together. Got back from Rolling Loud. I guess when he got back to New York, he said that, I have an activation for you for Shoreline Mafia. He said, put together a plan for me. And I said, okay, cool. Here's the budget. I said, okay, here's the budget. It's $11,000. And I can combine a few of the influences together. So he said, okay, let me run it by my team. And run it by Shoreline Mafia's team. He came back approved. That was the biggest budget I ever had. Invoice I have approved in my life when it comes to social media. I was like, this is a serious thing, y'all. So we kept doing it. And from there, Shoreline Mafia, we did all the different artists that are attached to Atlantic, all the way up to Cardi B. We've done promotions for. And these things just kept coming. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, y'all, this is serious. And the more the music industry respected the influencer, and the more, I guess, the music industry shifted more to streams, the more they needed the influencers. Label after label after label, then we started to visit different labels. Hey, can you come to our office? Can you come here? Can you come do this? And it just changed everything about what we do. Lots of money. The dance challenges, a lot of the dancers that I have who are pretty big dancers, they do the challenges. A lot of the songs these days born up from challenges. You utilize the app. We have a very close relationship with Triller, with Dub Smash. Now I'm getting a relationship with TikTok. If you go back and you look at from Lil Nas X with Old Town Road, that song blew up from TikTok and the internet, social media, and look where it is today. It's just a great example of how social media in the music industry combines and what it can do. And after that, other brand deals came. We've been flown out to Mexico for an app that has all this money, but they just want the influencers to come and stay in luxury in Mexico, fully staffed house, mansion on the beach, maids. Every time we came home, there was food on the table. We woke up, there was food on the table. I mean, we got up, food was cleaned up. We were taken out on tours, on private buses all throughout Mexico, very expensive cave tours, and I mean private buffets right in Mexico.
I mean, you definitely were you were out there definitely doing your thing out there. It seems like
it was amazing, all for free, flights paid for. This is happening multiple times. So this social media thing is
So your business through social media has been able to elevate, and social media has been able to give you a gateway to different opportunities that you probably wouldn't have had in regular traditional type of media.
Man, way on a whole nother level. And now what's happening is a lot of the influencers are getting serious with music. They can put out music and boom, it blows up. I've helped a lot of the influencers introduce their songs to different platforms through TuneCore, to Disco, Kid, to all these different platforms that go to Spotify, to iTunes. And they make a lot of money from their own streaming, and they come out with these songs and they start doing these shows. And now every studio in Atlanta, I've met every music executive you can name. Every studio in Atlanta that that's very popular, I've done business with. I know the owners now. I've had one of the owners of one studio want to do business with me and took me to floor seats at the Hawks game. Say, hey, I got floor seats. Let's meet there. I said, heck yeah, I'm going. This is great. So it has definitely taken me to another level of where they have become all-stars, very valuable kids. And I'm there and I'm working this thing out for them. And they don't pay for anything. Influencers don't pay for nothing. Nothing. We was at a store, Vicky and I was at a store.
The advertisers wanted to be through the people to be able to go out and get it through the money.
Yeah. So look at Drake. Drake's new jet. I did not know that. I mean, kind of knew, but that jet was free from the company, because they said they'll make the money back through publicity. It's the same thing with these influencers, on a smaller level, but so they become Drake, but they can't become that big, because they have that influence. It's never changed. Now, through music artists, the influencers are just as big as music artists, but now they are music artists and they're influencers. So they're unstoppable right now.
Right. No, I think you bring up a good point. It's almost like it's inseparable. And to the point that it's, each probably needs one another, because, the influence that influencers bring to the table to the audience for people to engage and buy products. Because at the end of the day, dollar signs, right? Dollar signs have to be converted somehow. So I think you bring a great point on that. I think you being an entrepreneur and able to have you've been able to find your own niche in your own lane that, people have only dreamed about doing what you've been trying to do, and even maybe even come close to death. All right, maybe not come close to death, but they've killed themselves trying to get to the point that you've gotten to, and you've been able to figure it out. And, just like all of us, we're all trying to figure it out. And you've been able to attain that success, man. Can I get a one time soul clap for Mr. Keith Dorsey? You know what I mean? I'd like to thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
On that note, you know what I mean? And this is the EFR podcast, episode 33. Sammy B, along with James Lyman. And on the board, we got John Don Sterling, and our guest Keith Dorsey, multimedia, influencing, social media, serial entrepreneur. He manages Robbie World, Lil Vicky, the Hollywood Dolls. Who else am I missing? Anybody else? Those are your three main.
Those are the three main. Robbie's the main, and like Vicky, Hollywood Dolls. So Hollywood Dolls, their mom. I managed with them with their mom. Their mom has done a great job with those. Right. One day I will probably have to thank her. Shout out to Hollywood Dolls. Kung Fu and Ocean. Famous Ocean. And Ocean. And then I work with about 15 influencers. I represent them. I have access to them.
Yeah.
They trust me to negotiate deals for them.
Yeah, man. Another one time for my man, Keith Dorsey, and everything he's doing. And, we just the EFR podcast. As always, we all have an opinion. It's just how you use yours. All right? EFR podcast. God bless. Be blessed. Stay blessed.